Hey, this is Ing Venning for Conscious Mosaic. I have been super busy and have not done one of these videos in a while, so I'm really glad to be back with you. It's October and Halloween and Samhain are coming up, so I tend to watch a lot of horror movies and read horror novels and different things this time of year. There's already some videos up about horror content. There's a video on the movie Frailty. There's a video on one of the Five Nights at Freddy's games. There's a video on Slenderman. And later in the month, I'll be doing at least one more video on a horror movie, maybe some other content, and then near the end of the month, I'm having some friends over again to do another Geeky Friends Discuss video. So last time they came over and we all discussed Batman, and it ran a lot longer than I thought it would, but I think the videos are really awesome, really high quality. Please check them out. There's a lot of great insight about Batman in various forms there. This time it will be shorter. It will cover a horror movie. I'm not sure which one it'll be yet, but it'll be a little bit shorter, but I'm really excited to be doing it. I can't wait to film it. And for today, I am thinking about a horror game, I guess you might say a horror fantasy game called Diablo. So right now I am playing the original Diablo with the Hellfire expansion. It's not running under emulation. It's a version that runs on Windows 10. As far as that though, it seems to me to like I remember it as the original game that I played many years ago. I don't think they've made many changes to it except adding the expansion. One of the first quests you'll remember, not in every game, but in many of the games, is the Butcher quest. So you come up on this church, there's an eerie red light spilling out of the windows onto the ground in the form of crosses, I believe. And there's a wounded townsman lying in front of the church. And he tells you that they were betrayed by Archbishop Lazarus, which notice Lazarus is a name of a resurrected character, in this case, someone resurrected to evil. Um, and he tells you the Archbishop, betrayed all of them and brought them into a slaughter, and horrible things happen. And so in this game, literally, the church is the passage to hell. Like if you keep going down under this, there's the church, and then it goes down to like catacombs and caves and all the way down into hell. So the church is literally a passage to hell. And the person that brought them there is literally an official of the church. Now, this made me think about, false dichotomies, which is this idea that there are two things that seem to be opposing, but they're not really. And so in this case, Christianity and Satanism, or heaven and hell, seem to be opposing, but they all fit the same worldview. And I've written a lot about false dichotomies before. It's something that comes up in some of my poetry and lexical numerals, and when it comes out in Puddles with Wings, which is going to come out soon. It's also something that plays heavily in my Wheel of the Year novels. The opening image to those novels is an apple and an orange being pressed together. And this idea of comparing things that seem unlike and then being brought together and pressed together, that happens over and over again in those novels. Right now, I'm working on a trilogy. I'm editing the first novel, The Plague of Consequences. And in this novel, there is, and I don't want to give too much away, but there are seemingly opposing points of view, but they're part of the same worldview. They really essentially express the same worldview. And so, in Diablo, the church and hell, heaven and hell, the holy and the profane are brought together, and they're all kind of part of the same worldview. And this really happens in Christian theology a lot. If you look, for instance, at Yahweh's personality, Yahweh is jealous, angry, bitter. He loves torture. He loves genocide. And so does Satan. I mean, they have a very, very similar personalities, right? I was recently reading Neil Gaiman's Sandman comics. I think 4 of the collected volumes in, and the last volume I read centered around the Lucifer giving the key to hell to Sandman, and Sandman having to figure out, who am I going to give this key to? And in the end, there are these angels that, come down and decide the best thing we can do is take hell over and keep torturing people just like we did before, because that's what serves God, and that it really shows you there where those two worldviews they're reinforcing each other. This idea that there are evil forces out there that you have to destroy, right? This idea kind of tends to make you into one of those evil forces. So these false dichotomies where Christianity and Satanism, they seem to be opposed, but they support the same worldview, and it's a worldview of horror and anger and self-righteousness and selfishness and genocide and torture. And this is something that pervades our society. In fact, you probably can think of examples. I was talking to some friends at dinner last night, and they were talking about a series that's based on The Exorcist, where it's not always clear what the motivations are. I can think of other, movies and books and games and things where this comes up as well. So if you have favorite examples of this false dichotomy of, the holy and the profane, especially if it's from a Christian worldview, Christianity and Satanism, God versus Lucifer, let me know about it, because I'm always looking for other examples. I feel like this comes out over and over again in our storytelling in our society. And then, as usual, please like, comment, share, subscribe. I want to keep doing this, and I can only do that if I can get people interested in the channel, if I can get them watching, commenting. I will add a link to my Patreon account, because you can also support me there, and I could really use the support right now, because I love doing this and I want to keep doing this. And as usual, I hope everyone here has a fantastic day.